if you're gonna pick up Swedenborg and read it, you're gonna come across the word church a lot. He goes on and on about the church, mentions church a lot, but he uses a term in a different way than a lot of people, and it has multiple meanings, I've found. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what does he mean when he says church.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess one quote that comes to me is church is doing good in life.
Mm-hmm.
So anybody who's doing good in church would be the Lord's church. I don't take it as an organization or an institution or a certain number of people. I take it as a state. So for me, there's within every human being, I certainly notice within myself, I have good states. I have compassion. I have tolerance. I have patience. I have sympathy. So there's good states in me, both good feelings. I love my grandchild, and good thoughts. I think I'll buy him. He wanted a teddy bear, didn't he?
Yeah.
So those good feelings, and I can equate good with God. God feelings, good feelings. Those within me, I consider to have a higher vibration, and they comprise my church.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, well, what's the church for? A church is to help you start to move into a life that's good and expressive of good affections to others, not just centered on yourself.
Yeah. So the church is, rather than being primarily an external organization where you go to buildings and it's a something that's growing inside you. It's a state that you're cultivating an attitude towards life.
Yeah, I think in the gospel, I think it was Jesus said, I put before you a tree of life and a tree of death. I recommend life. He didn't say he took away the tree of death.
Mm-hmm.
He said he puts them both there. So the tree of death, or the dark side in me, as well as the kingdom of heavens within me, which is the church, all those states from childhood that are good and loving, unconditionally loving of others, and to serve others and God rather than self. Contrasted, an exact opposite to that, is those loves which are solely directed towards me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at the party, I notice they're bringing out the dessert.
Yeah.
If I get first in line, then I'm getting the biggest pizza pie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or I want to get the job. I want not to serve others. I want to get a job because that corner office makes me look pretty hot, and I can buy that car and it's going to impress people how smart I am. Those loves directed towards me as a person, not useful, not for others. If it doesn't get its way, which it's not going to get its way often because God's in charge and He's not about serving you,
Yeah.
so it's going to come up with resentment, and it's going to come up with anger. It's going to come up with judgment. So all those loves of myself and loves of the world for me, in exclusion to caring about you, I want the top of the pyramid. I want to be the Olympic champion. That's what the church is to help free you from.
Mm-hmm.
And so we can call that Egypt, being freed from worshiping a man who called himself God, Pharaoh, to go worship the real God by the Israelites. So that's the relationship between those loves within me that I'm in bondage to, serving me, hating others, judging others. I could be freed from that gradually by the affections in me that God gives me that are loves of Him and loves of the world. I can start to turn toward that tree of life. And that's what the church is for within me. There are organizations that could remind you of that. We can call them church, we can call them therapy, we can call them ashrams, we can call them anything we want. But they're there, they're like maps, they're not the territory. The territory is you. The map is, yeah, I know you're angry at your wife because she came home late. But there is love and compassion and maybe some appreciation for rush hour these days, you know what I mean? You could go there. My anger doesn't want to go there because my anger wants to live in me. But those good affections want to manifest through me too. And then I'm in a relationship between which am I going to choose?
Yeah, and the good affections, the good thoughts, the stepping outside of self-centeredness. Those are the building block, the stones, if you will, to build the church, or the kind of church that Swedenborg is talking about. And yeah, and he does talk about that, you take everybody's internal church, put them all together, that's where you got the larger church. It's made up of everybody, anyone around the world who's trying to live rightly by what they know.
That's right.
That's the bigger church. Swedenborg actually talked about how we can become we are heaven or hell in miniature. You know, so do you want to say a little bit about what that is?
Yeah, I think most people, including many states of myself, think the external world can be hell. You can be in rush hour, you go on vacation, and now it's 55 down in Florida, and you paid good money to get here, and you're reading a paper 75 up in Philadelphia. So I'm angry and judgmental. Oh, I better not do that because then maybe if I'm that way, I'm not appreciating God's gift. Maybe God will make me go to hell later. No, I'm already in hell. I'm in the hell of resentment. I'm in the hell of anger. I'm in the hell of judgment. So it's not something for me that's going to be in the future. It's if my love of self and love of the world doesn't get its way, it creates hell for me. In the 12-step recovery program, which I'm in, they say it makes my life unmanageable because I'm angry at the very people I love. I'm destroying the vacation that I went on. So that's a state of hell in me. And I also have states of heaven in me. And I can be triggered in either of those states. So I'm not going to go to hell. I'm not worried about going to hell in the future. I'm trying to get out of hell most of the time right today.
Yeah. Yeah, and you mentioned love of self and love of the world, and Swedenborg uses those phrases, and he doesn't mean, a lot of people hear love of self and they might think, oh, like, you know, self-esteem, but it's something different that you touched on earlier, that love of self is where your primary goal is your own interests, and it actually, you know, becomes hostile if somebody gets in the way of it. So it's different than having a decent feelings towards yourself or whatever. Love of self is sort of a like, you know, personified in like, okay, some kind of organized crime, like gangsters. Like if you're serving me, then you're cool. But as soon as you mess up, I'll kill you.
Yeah,
like that's love of self.
Well, yeah, to me that love of self, a good love of self. It says love of self or the ego makes a good servant and a lousy master.
Mm-hmm.
So if you find yourself serving your own loves, your anger at your wife is you're serving your anger, which is destroying your relationship with your wife. Your anger is in charge, and you're serving it at the destruction of things that are more important to you, really. Not to the anger, but to you. So if you get to a point where, yeah, you want a good self, you want a good mind, you want knowledge, you want background, you want experience, whether you're an athlete or whether you're a student, whatever it is, those things so that I can serve my neighbor, I can be better at the job. It's sort of like a guy has a company and his whole interest is to make money.
Right.
And he's cutting down on the quality of the service, and he's cutting down the quality of goods and increasing money. Gradually, he's deteriorating himself. Whereas I've been on a board with a guy who's very successful, and he says, just make sure you know you're here to serve your customer and give him the best product at the price you can do, keep in business. And if your focus is on that, then the business is serving the good end, and the money will come. But if the business becomes to serve you, generally it'll be going the wrong direction. And I use it, you know, in a car. I have a nice car. I want to operate. I have places to go. I have trips to go on. I have things to buy. But if I have a Maserati up on blocks, and all I do is polish it, and all I do is make it look good and leave it in the garage so I can impress my friends when they come over, hey, look at the car I got. All my energy and all my time is going to serve the means, when that's a means to be serving my ends of doing something in reality for the benefit of others. Because I think we're created to do good and be happy doing good or doing God's work. And when we're not doing that, we think we're happy. If I'm taking drugs, I'm snorting coke, I say those are good things, but they're not serving anyone, and eventually they start deteriorating the basis of what I'm here for, which is to serve.
Yeah, and it seems like it's backwards. I mean, it's a facade. If you know, companies present themselves, I mean, you know, okay, we sell tires. You know, the whole thing you're presenting yourself as is we are giving the service of tires. Like we're bringing tires to people. But if the only driving force behind it is money, it's kind of like, why are you putting up this facade of we're a tire company, we're a money making machine, and what can I pick out that will get me money? We're going to abuse people's need for tires to get money. So it doesn't seem in integrity, you know, if that's it.
And you know, they advertise that because they know at the basis of what really works is we're here to serve you, whether you're a doctor, whether you're a tire company, whether you're a mechanic. So they advertise that. If they live that, then they are in harmony with the integrity that we all honor. If they're saying that but they're not doing that, that lack of integrity is undercutting what we really do value, which is, and you know, I've been in positions where I have a chance between profit or giving them a little more time and effort. So I can feel that pull. You want to go towards yourself. But if you do, it's progressively addictive and destructive. More and more self energy goes into self and less out.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're losing your customers, you know.